the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Tuesday from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Good morning! It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Tuesday from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Nigeria is facing another cash shortage. With many ATMs and banks out of money, people are turning to street currency traders who charge high fees. Despite the increase in circulation to 3.97 trillion, only 6.8% is in the bank. Banks have limited withdrawals to 20,000 naira, far below the CBN limit of 500,000 naira. The CBN says it hasn't denied cash requests from banks, blaming the shortage on bank and agent-banker collaboration in rural areas. Agents charge up to 10% per transaction. Experts urge the CBN to tackle high transaction fees and ensure banks service their ATMs while promoting digital payment to reduce cash dependency.
Adjacent to them or opposite, there are a lot of POS operators that are giving cash. Where are they getting that cash from? Everybody is not very much financially buoyant, especially in this economy, to afford paying those 100 naira, 200 naira charges. So it's more of business liars to me than risk cash scarcity.
See, as a layman, because I'm not a banker, but what I understand is that maybe something is fishing because they're supposed to be cash in the ATM. Remember that time of cashless? You go, some bankers, I know of some people who I don't know, I've not verified, but they were telling me that some of the bank workers are conniving with this POS operators, that they give them money, then collect something like interest on the money they give out, things like that. So I think maybe that is still happening. If you go to the bank, you cannot get clean notes, for example. You understand? But if you go to the pay of operators, you will see clean notes. So how come? You are supposed to have clean notes in the banking hall, but no matter the amount you want to withdraw, they pay you out with dirty notes. So maybe there's something is going on there that the regulators of the bank need to look into.
POS operator have many accounts. So some can go to another bank, I use ATM to withdraw. When they withdraw, they can say when their money finish, they transfer to another account. Then they can go and withdraw and transfer to another bank. They can go, maybe some POS can have Citizen Bank, Access Bank, Union Bank, UBA. When they say they have to transfer their money to another account, then they withdraw for there, they transfer to another account, they withdraw, transfer. I believe that they can make it, because they cannot make money.
As you already heard from the citizens regarding this situation, hoping that the CBN can do right by the citizens and they can have access to their cash without having to pay so much charges or going through so much difficulties to get it. Oyindamola Olukutan for Voice of the People TV.
The Campaign for Democratic and Workers' Rights has called on the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) to intensify their demand for a higher minimum wage and to protest against recent economic policies. In a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Chinedu Boza, the group criticized the prolonged deadlock in negotiations for a new minimum wage, which has persisted for over 3 weeks. The statement highlighted that although the NLC and the TUC had declared an indefinite strike beginning on June 3, 2024, it was suspended on June 4, 2024, due to the government and private sector's insistence on a minimum wage of 60,000 naira. Citing recent protests in Kenya that resulted in the government withdrawing a tax increment policy, the group urged leaders of the NLC and TUC to announce a 48-hour general strike and mass protests. They demand a minimum wage of at least 200,000 naira and the reversal of privatization, deregulation, subsidy removal, and electricity hikes. As Voice of the People TV, we are on the streets gathering public opinion on this development.
You can protest in peaceful way. After the protest and pray to the God, make that protest, our government take it easily for him. No need of protest. Let's be worrying them as we are worrying them. Because if you protest, they can chance it to be another thing. If area boys are already joining us. So we don't need to protest it. But what I only know, our government announced the price of the food. If the food comes down, the any amount they will pay in the salary, then it may be enough for us.
Protest has no meaning. At least let them protest for what all the masses will benefit, like insecurity, food. Let price of things come down so that everybody will free and join for the country.
In Nigerians, we know who we are. They will call up for protests or whatever they want to do. At the end of the day, when those in charge have been settled, everything will go down. They will settle the matter. The pharmacy started facing the problem that we are continuing facing. But if it is on the protest that can sort out the problem, if they really know what they are saying, I think I'm in support of
the red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Good morning! It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, good morning to you. Welcome to Voice of the People TV, a beautiful Wednesday morning. And we do apologize for starting the show later than intended. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am David Edmond, and wishing you a beautiful day ahead because, yes, it would be a beautiful day ahead. Oh, yes, this morning we definitely want to just get to it almost immediately. Quite a lot to talk about. And one of these topics that we'll be talking about is the fact that the FCT minister made a major statement, particularly to a lawmaker, and well, that statement seemed to be a very, very major one. But then, that's what we're looking at this morning, and I think right now we already have our guest in, and I'm talking about Barrister Henry Ekine. Let's look at it almost immediately, or should we?
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into the statement credited to Nyesom Wike, Minister of the FCT, where he basically threw jabs at a current lawmaker, Ireti Kingibe. Let's talk about this statement and the implications of it when we come back from this break. Okay. Well, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has publicly challenged Senator Ireti Kingibe, suggesting she will not be re-elected in 2027. And this follows Kingibe's criticism on television, where she stated that the FCT residents were unimpressed with Wike's performance, highlighting the lack of essential amenities like schools, hospitals, and potable water. Now, in his response, Wike, defending his tenure as Minister of the FCT and his achievements, of course, during the flagging off of the Mabushi bus terminal in Abuja, he accused Ireti Kingibe of not collaborating with the FCT administration and of being hostile towards President Bola Tinubu's administration. Now, Wike also questioned Kingibe's legislative contributions to improving education and healthcare in the FCT. But he went on to challenge her popularity and predicted that her electoral, well, he did predict her electoral defeat in 2027. I wish we had the video to that one, so we'll take his words verbatim from him. But anyway, Wike further expressed confidence in the progress made under his leadership and dismissed the need for approval from critics. He emphasized his pride in the work accomplished since he was appointed by President Tinubu as the Minister of the FCT. Well, we have joining us virtually Barrister Henry Ekine, all the way from Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, Barrister. Well, good. Well, I can see you, but I need to be certain that you can hear us. Good morning once again, Barrister. Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Fantastic.
All right, first off, since the man we're talking about today, Wike, also has links to events happening in Rivers State, and you are in Port Harcourt. We did hear very recently that some weapons were intercepted on their way to Port Harcourt. What's the atmosphere like in Port Harcourt, in River State, I beg your pardon? What's the atmosphere like in River State right now? Let's start with that one first. Can you give us an overview?
At the moment, River State is calm, River State is peaceful, the atmosphere in River State is friendly. I've actually just got to my office and I think everybody is going about activities today. I'm actually preparing to go to court. So the courts are sitting, government offices are on, private institutions are also working. There's no real situation to worry about, so be apprehensive about at the moment. I think rather what is building up is preparations and concerns about the forthcoming local government elections. So I think River State is peaceful and calm at the moment.
All right, thank you very much for that update. Now let's talk about this statement credited to Minister Wike at the flagging off of the Mabushi bus terminal. That one basically throwing jabs at Ireti Kingibe. We don't know who she is. I mean, she got to power, she got to the Senate through the Labour Party, and but then her husband, Babagana Kingibe, has been in politics for as long as politics has been, as long as democracy, and politics has been in Nigeria from the military rule up until this time. And we also do know that she's related. Her sister, Joke Mohammed, was the wife of Murtala Mohammed. Yes, a one-time president of this country. So this is someone with some pedigree. Now let's look at this statement. What exactly is going on in the Senate? They seem to be divided right now. Because she's been accused, she's been chided for not proposing bills, that would alleviate the sufferings of the people in the FCT. On the other hand, she's accusing the minister and some of the parties of sidelining her in the activities of the minister in the FCT. But she is the person representing the FCT at the Senate. How would you define what is going on right there between the minister and the Senate?
Well, apparently, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is clear with respect to the responsibilities of legislators and the ministers in the cabinet at the federal level. So sometimes when politicians get into these rhetorics and perhaps exchange of I don't even imagine if there's any existing crisis, but a legislator and a member of the National Assembly has a clear function of lawmaking. And like I said, lawmaking or legislating will include making new laws, amending existing laws to solve mischiefs, and then also perhaps consolidating a number of laws where the need arises. And more importantly, or if you like, most importantly, to oversight public fund. The control of public fund is also a responsibility of the legislators. So a legislator can actually question the activities of the executive with respect to performing their functions, constitutional functions of implementing laws, including appropriating public fund. So any executive member or a member of the cabinet, or maybe a minister or an advisor, or even the president himself can be questioned, and then concerns to be raised as to how you're performing your functions. And like I said, also, members of cabinet, the executive also have their functions clearly provided in the Constitution to implement the laws and ensure the enforcement of the laws, depending on the office you handle.
All right.
And again, to execute projects and programs of government. So the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has a clear responsibility, answerable to the President. Of course, the President is like the governor. That's how the Constitution views it, of the Federal Capital Territory, like to a state. Then the Minister, of course, answers to the President. And he has a clear responsibility to implement the laws in the Federal Capital Territory. Of course, those will be acts of the National Assembly, but the National Assembly legislates for the Federal Capital Territory. including executing projects and programs and applying the funds that have been appropriated under the Appropriation Act with respect to the Federal Capital Territory. So a legislator has, I think, a legitimate right to, especially a legislator representing the Federal Capital Territory. That's a constituency to ask questions.
Now, you've raised vital points here. Her constituency it is.
Capital Territory are being expropriated.
All right, then. Well, you have raised some vital points here. It's her constituency, and she has the right to question the use of public funds, especially within that constituency, the FCT. But then, with the remarks from with the complaints of being sidelined, that means that gives the impression that she's not aware of how things are being disbursed and how these funds are being disbursed and how things are being done in the FCT. And then with a statement, with the comments from Wike calling her a critic, all right? And the statement from the Senate president, who was also at the flagging of Godswill Akpabio, Senator Godswill Akpabio, telling Wike to disregard critics and just go ahead and do the work that he is doing. Doesn't that give the impression that the senator who represents the people of the FCT is actually in oblivion of what is going on and basically being sidelined like she has claimed?
I really didn't get clear the statement of the Senate president and what really it is that he said. But my understanding of, like I explained, of the functions of the legislators and including, of course, the Senate president and then the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory is quite clear and then can be checked, no doubt. So I really do not seem to get it clear what you said that the Senate president said.
Well, the Senate president, I'm trying to see if I can get his actual words now. The Senate president did say that the minister should disregard critics, those who do not mean well, all right, and just go ahead and do what he's doing. Now, this is the Senate president, who, of course, presides over activities at the Senate, where Senator Ireti Kingibe is part of, seeming to, well, support the minister in what the minister said at that meeting, that some have said were derogatory, targeted at the senator. What impression does this give, really? Unfortunately, I can't lay my hands on the exact words of the Senate president, but that's a summary of what he said. Disregard critics and go ahead and do what you're doing. Do the good work that you're doing.
It will be unfortunate for the Senate president to make that kind of comment because members of the National Assembly, like I said, have the powers to question the actions of the executive. So for the Senate president to say to an executive member or a member of cabinet to undermine, if you like, what assertions or what questions that a member of parliament was asking a cabinet member, then I think that's unfortunate. It only probably indicates that the Senate president doesn't seem to understand that there is some level of collective responsibility among the legislators. That's on the one hand. And then as the Senate president, he has to protect the legislators of the National Assembly. And again, understanding that that is the primary responsibility of legislators to ensure that public funds are appropriated in the most effective and effectual manner, and then for the purposes they are appropriated, then I wonder how anyone would say that a member of the executive or a cabinet member who has a responsibility to account for every dime, every penny that has been appropriated for whatever function in his ministry. That's because we seem not to understand how we indeed need to even account or call for account
it's
the activities
interesting.
and actions of public office holders in this country.
All right,
it's not until they leave office, even while they are in office. And then in this case, we're even talking about a legislator who has a constitutional function and power to so do. So I think that it's unfortunate that the Senate president would say and undermine the that constitutional power or function of the legislator, and then say to the minister of the FCT or any minister in that regard not to bother or to undermine the comments of legislators with respect to the performance of their office. I don't think that that is.
Okay. Now, sorry. Let me before my colleague goes on to ask the question. Let me just pick out the exact statement from the Senate president. He said, "Well, he told Minister Wike to avoid distraction coming from Senator Kingibe, as Wike has the support of the majority of senators." Yes, that's an excerpt of some of the things he said. David.
All right, Barrister, I'm going to come to you like immediately. Now, one of the statements that Senator Kingibe did make was the fact that Nyesom Wike was constructing road or building roads where the bulk of people don't reside. Now, Wike in return did say that she's unpopular and, of course, paraphrasing, threatening her senatorial seat for 2027. Some quarters have said that Wike seemed to have the federal might in his hands to be able to achieve that. Would you say, at this point, maybe explain to Nigerians, if there is a law stating that a sitting senator of a representing a particular place can question activities of a sitting minister in the same state, and how should that senator go about it?
Yes, apparently every citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this is the worry that I have. Every citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a constitutional duty to ensure the observance and protection of the provisions of the Constitution. It means that every citizen, not even a senator, every citizen has the responsibility and the right to also question the activities and actions of public office holders. If any public office holder is not prepared to answer those questions, then he should just exit, because as much as you draw benefit for occupying that position, you should also be prepared to answer questions. Now, constitutionally, I had mentioned that the National Assembly as a whole has a constitutional power or the function to oversight public funds. It means, by extension, that any member of the National Assembly who represents a constituency also has the right to be able to monitor and question, and in fact, if you like, to even examine appropriately how her constituents are being managed, or if you like, governed. Now, speaking about a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who represents a constituency, that's the Federal Capital Territory,
right?
Who else will have the legitimate constitutional power and rights to protect the interests of her constituents if it's not the senator representing that constituency, in this case, the Federal Capital Territory? And then whatever question the senator puts before the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, provided it is within the provisions of the Constitution as to the appropriate expenditure of public funds or performance of the functions of the office of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in my view, arguably, is correct. So to label those kind of questions as distraction, again, is most unfortunate, especially coming from a member of the Senate, no less than the Senate president. What and how do we describe questions put by a legislator who is representing a constituency and then is asking certain questions about her or his constituents as distraction? So what would mean distraction to politicians now in Nigeria is when even citizens can question, residents in the Federal Capital Territory can question the decisions and actions of the minister. It is not distraction. The minister is not law unto himself. The same way the governor in my state, every day we speak, we are questioning the actions and decisions of the governors in our respective states. Today, perhaps I may have questions that will arise and we examine the actions of the governor in the state. So if the actions of the governor in the state can be questioned even by citizens, then what would anyone say that the questions of a senator with respect to her constituency is a distraction? Except it's political arguments, otherwise I don't think that that is appropriate to comment, to say by the Senate president.
All right, then. Now, it's a good thing that the video is ready, and let's listen to him, and then we'll come back and analyze his statements and what this portends for democracy, because there are certain things that he pointed to. He said that scares some Nigerians in the wait for 2027 elections. Let's take a listen.
27, come and run under Abuja. We will fail you. You think that what happened last time will happen again? You think so? It will not happen again. If you are popular, come and run. Luckily for me, I'm the FCT minister now. So here's my territory. I'm not afraid. So people should come out and be able to accept the truth. We are not begging for anybody to be afraid. We have so many friends that we cannot even carry along. So how can we go and beg people to be our friends again? We're not interested in that. So if you're angry that people are praising us, wait.
Fortunately, I was expecting a video, but I think there was a problem with the video there. So we had to use the picture of the minister. Well, he went on to say a few things. Barrister, I hope you're still with us. Okay, great. Well, he went on to say a few things. He says, if you're angry that people are praising us, go and hang yourself on a transformer. It says, if we have done well, we have done well. If we have not, we have not. I am proud to say that in the short time Mr. President has appointed us, we have done well, he said. He is also credited to have said that you said there are no hospitals as a legislator. What have you done? How many bills have you sponsored to improve our education and health sectors? I challenge that legislator. If you're very popular, come and run in Abuja in 2027. We will fail you. Do you think what happened last time will happen again? It will not. Luckily for me, I am the FCT minister now. So that is my territory, and I am not afraid. Do you think what happened? Now, Barrister, from what we know, what happened last time was that a certain individual representing the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, won the elections, and that had won the elections in FCT. Let's be clear, in the FCT, and that had an effect as Labour Party officials, candidates were elected into offices. From this statement, what happened last time will not happen. What impression does this give, really? This statement coming from the FCT minister, what impression does this give when it comes to electioneering? Some would say it's not about the will of the people now. It's about who is able to control affairs in the FCT. Let's also look at this juxtaposed with how the minister handled the affairs of Rivers State prior to the elections and during the 2023 elections that, brought Mr. President into office, which of course led to Mr. President winning the elections in Rivers State. What impression are we getting from this statement from Minister Wike?
Yeah, thank you. I think that public officials in Nigeria trivialize public comments. When they speak, they think that at all times you will be speaking politics. It's unfortunate again. It's another unfortunate comment, especially the part that what happens here before wouldn't happen. Thank God I am now the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. This is my territory. And then you're talking about election. So what do you mean? Does it mean that it is the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory that determines the outcome of elections in the FCT? That would be unfortunate in our democracy. Or does it mean that a governor will ultimately determine the outcome of elections in a state? That would be unfortunate in our democracy. Or does it mean also that the FCT minister or any minister or a governor or even the president will determine who will emerge from any election? Because to say that, don't worry, we will fail you. How would an individual, an executive member of cabinet or whoever the person would be, to determine the success or failure of a candidate in a forthcoming election, especially in 2027, far away from now?
Barrister,
So
what do you think? What do you think would have motivated that statement? Because these are not just ordinary words. These are words from a politician to another politician. What do you think would have motivated these kind of words?
Yeah, that's more worrisome. Like I said, when public officials in Nigeria are not careful about their comments. But what I think will probably motivate that, like I said, you see, we have a society that impunity reigns over the rule of law. So whatever would have motivated any public officer to make that kind of comment with confidence that you can determine the outcomes of elections and you can also determine who wins and you can also declare that you will make a person to fail, then it's only in a society where the rule of law has been murdered and then perhaps only waiting interment, and then impunity has taken over, especially even where we have serious concern about our electoral process. Not forgetting in Rivers State where the same minister had credited to himself publicly that he was instrumental directly to the emergence of all of the elected officials in Rivers State, perhaps except one, to the best of my knowledge, and that is the member representing a constituency in Falga in the House of Representatives, who is of the Labour Party platform. That otherwise, he procured the forms for all the other elected officials at all levels. He funded them, and so he determined who was going to succeed or not. And so anybody who succeeded, who was elected, owed him loyalty and complete allegiance for that, enabling that person. So if that is what the minister is planning to do in the FCT, to say that, Madam Senator, you're not going to return in 2027, we're going to make sure you fail, and thank God I'm here. At this time, I'm the FCT minister. How? In a democracy, I don't think that public office holders should make those kind of assertions. So if there's any motivation at all, I think is primarily out of impunity, disregarding rule of law, and perhaps, like I said, that the minister is acting for and on behalf of Mr. President. The minister is close to the State House, so I think he alone should be able to explain to Nigerians what the plan of the ruling party is with respect to the forthcoming, not now anyway, in 2027 elections in the Federal Capital Territory. I wouldn't be able to be sure what exactly is motivating him beyond these assumptions.
It's interesting that you did mention the forthcoming election. Now, some quarters have said that the minister isn't talking to the situation that the woman did mention. She did mention the wrath in social amenities like hospitals and schools, but the minister wasn't talking to that effect. Isn't this worrisome for the people of the FCT to consistently demand the good governance from the people who they've elected or appointed to rule against over them?
Yeah, if I got that last part of your question, it's a constitutional right of citizens to continually participate in governance. And post-election, the way citizens participate in governance is to demand for good governance and to insist that the primary purpose of governance, which is to continually enhance the welfare of citizens and protect their lives and property, is not just assumed or by way of rhetorics where the public office holders will assert, oh, we've done that, we've done this, but for the people to truly see that their welfare indeed is improved, and then their security, their lives and property are secured. And then, so if that is in any way in the deficit, then they have the right to demand and continually demand, and that's the way they participate in governance, especially in a democracy. So every citizen, like I said earlier, has a right to demand, and especially those who are elected to represent the citizens in their constituency have rights to demand. And of course, yes, I agree that citizens have the obligations to perform in society. But as much as citizens have performed their obligations, then public office holders and the government would have no excuse but to continually enhance the welfare of citizens. We can say this the world over, how citizens are demanding emphatically improvement in their welfare. And so if any public office holder is short of providing welfare for citizens, then citizens have the right to demand in all forms, including protests. Kenya is not far from Nigeria, and then other parts of the country, of the world, that citizens now are taking the bull by the horn and then moving on to ensure that their welfare, because there's palpable failure of governance almost at all levels. It is not until you get to the end where citizens can no longer exist or ensure their existence, including members of their families. Right. I tell you, Edwin and Humphrey, in Nigeria today, there are families that can't feed anymore. Even when we do not pride ourselves to be those who have opportunities to probably access public funds, to unfortunately amass much of public funds, even in our struggles, in our private endeavors, there are people who think that we could reach out to them. And every day, you get calls from relatives, even people who don't know you, on the streets in Nigeria today. People would have to beg before they could survive. You imagine what a household will be going through. You imagine what a mother will be going through watching her children crying and there's no food to eat. It's a country where a cup of rice is now 500 naira. So how many cups will a mother purchase in a day to be able to have her children eat? That's staple food in this country. Right. Where a basin of gari is about 30,000 naira. So how would families survive? So if the people can't demand for better governance from the people, then we're heading to where at some point the protests, I'm not predicting any doom, but then it's real that we're heading to a point where Nigerians will be fed up, and then the protests may exceed that in Kenya.
You know, it's quite interesting that you did mention protests, and well, some quarters have said that as it stands, the presidency seemed to have a major plan for the FCT, knowing fully well that during the last election, the ruling party did lose at the FCT. So some quarters are saying that the minister is talking knowing for a fact that he has presidential might and backing in his hands. And that's the reason why he's making that statement. Is there the possibility that this is 2027 target in view for both the minister and the presidency as it stands?
Yes, I think I had also...
We seem to have
made reference to only the minister would know the assertions with confidence that that's the
all right then, let me permit me to interrupt your thoughts here. Permit me to interrupt you here. Let me quickly ask, because social media was a buzz with reactions when the minister said those things that he said. Yeah, go hang yourself, go hug on a transformer, go hug a transformer if you're not pleased with what we are doing. And this, we can't hide away from the fact that this is a woman, all right? And this is at a time when Nigerians are clamoring for women inclusion in politics. And how will this impact on other women that may want to contest for political appointments? How will this statement impact? Because social media went crazy. And a lot of Nigerians picked out the fact that, yes, he's talking like this because It's a woman. She's a woman. How will this impact on the politics in Nigeria as it concerns women inclusion, Barrister?
May have some negative effect, but I think I would rather encourage women not to be deterred. But I would say again to encourage every woman who would aspire to elective position, because it's worrisome. When we did our work, I personally did a work in parliaments across Africa. The proportion of women representation in parliaments across Africa, and it was worrisome. The records about Nigeria since 1999. So one would imagine that we need all the encouragement, or all the support rather, and encouragement for women in this country to participate in politics, particularly in our representative democracy, for that proportion of the population of this country, which is reported to even be more than men, to be represented in parliament or at any level of governance. So if what the minister or any member of cabinet of the other sex as male think that it's because we have a woman parliamentarian here, so she has to be harassed and intimidated, and then given the warning not to even think about aspiring in 2027, and then we begin to harass and intimidate the legislator now, then I think for me that would be unfortunate in our democracy. To strengthen and deepen our democracy and for fair representation, I think that would be unfair. But let me say one thing, outside, maybe those who are outside River State and they may not have known so much about the former governor of River State, the current minister of the Federal Capital Territory. With respect to him, some of the assertions you're reporting now about him in Abuja are not strange to us here in River State. So such references as to hugging transformer, go and die, or jump into the sea, and there are sorts of kinds of like assertions and comments that we have become familiar with respect to.
But you are a human rights lawyer.
A member of cabinet.
As a human rights lawyer,
that the president would have probably called him to order in those kind of assertions.
Okay, as a human rights lawyer, isn't this hate speech?
Well, arguably, it's possible. It can be given such interpretation. But because it's vilifying, it's kind of it's an attack. It's a verbal attack to an individual. But you know, sometimes when we push this kind of arguments, the supporters of the other person wouldn't say this truly. But when you have direct, offensive verbal attack to an individual, it's hate speech. It's a hate speech is stretched in terms of its interpretation, but. And it's more worrisome when public office holders who are supposed to be guided when they make their utterances and be circumspect about what they say, and then make those kind of almost likened to be common among those who are usually referred to as being on the streets. But what would warrant a public office holder in responding to whatever questions, and legitimate questions at that, and then making those kind of assertions? So for me, I think that we have to enjoin public office holders in this country to be more circumspect about what they say and how they address Nigerians and the public.
It's interesting.
All right then.
It's interesting you've mentioned public office holders, which of course is going to lead us to our next conversation. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has declared a state of emergency on crude oil production. The announcement was made by the group chief executive officer Mele Kyari during the opening ceremony of the 23rd edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition Energy Week in Abuja. Now, Kyari emphasized that NNPCL is committed to addressing and overcoming the challenges that have hampered crude oil production. He highlighted that Nigeria has the capacity to produce 2 million barrels of crude oil per day without the need for new rigs. However, the primary issue has been the slow response from industry players. Now, Barrister, quickly, what do you think would have been the reason for this declaration by the NNPCL And what implication would this have on the industry?
Well, a state of emergency declared in our country, particularly the petroleum sector and our major energy sector. For me, it's important, it's good, but to what extent? Is it only with respect to exploration? I think the state of emergency should be one that is expansive beyond exploration, or if you like, exploitation, but to all the tares in the oil sector, including the downstream. So we have a lot in the oil sector in this country that appear to be dysfunctional, and that we really do need some sort of state of emergency to fixing them, including the downstream. How much and how do we get the product available in this country requires a clear state of emergency. And how much and to what extent would we have Nigerians be able to access this commodity requires a state of emergency. How much and to what extent the availability of petroleum products for use in this country requires a state of emergency. But it does appear to me, I'm afraid, that the group managing director, I don't know if that's what it still is, of NNPCL, made his declaration with respect to exploration, expanding the production levels, and then probably to increase the volume of production. That is particularly to their interest. Maybe in terms of revenue and in terms of the interests the country may have considered, especially when we hear, I don't know how verifiable that is, that much of our crude had already been mortgaged away or had already been sold in a production and sales agreement already, to the extent that we have shortage, even for use, domestic use, we have shortage reportedly, even for the almighty Dangote refinery to access crude for processing or for refining for products to be available in this country. So if that is, I think it will have some great impact in the sector in the country. I read that and I imagine that the NNPCL is enjoining other joint venture partners, the IOCs, to also consider to key into this declaration. And then it's also going to impact positively, if that's really considered, to improve the infrastructure and, if you like, assets of the respective operators in this sector. Because he did mention that they were going to revamp the kilometers of pipelines in this country. And that's important, especially to my part of the country where I am. And then you hear every day of facility failures, asset failures, and then environmental pollution with respect to leakages and spills. So if they are truly going to fix the kilometers of pipelines, they are going to work on their assets. And if that's what
We always seem to have a
the declaration of emergency means, and again to probably get on and to also, that is deploying more wells, getting more of the wells operational. That's good. Increased production may imply increased revenue, but if the revenue is going to be appropriated for the benefit of Nigerians will be the other question. But otherwise, increased production would mean increased revenue, will mean increased availability of crude for refining within the country, would also mean, for those of us also who are host communities, increased revenue under the new Chapter 3 of the Petroleum Industry Act for the purpose of community development. So if the actual operating cost of the settlers rise, the implication is that the fund for development for host communities would also increase. So it has a multiplier kind of effect if that declaration is anything really to go by.
Okay. All right, then this will be a good place to anchor. Well, we must say a very big thank you to you, Barrister Henry Kingibe, and we wish you the very best as you go to the courts today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure always to be on your platform. I quite appreciate it.
Thank you once again. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we get into other aspects of the show. We have business, entertainment, and sports. Stay with us.
On the street,
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Now to business. The managing director of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, Akitunde Soya, announced that they anticipate between 250,000 to 300,000 applicants for the student loan scheme from the academic sector by the end of the year. In an interview, Soya highlighted that the non-academic sector's applications might be lower since that part of the scheme is just getting started. Now, he assured that NELFund has enough budget to support all students in tertiary institutions across Nigeria, totaling about 2 million. The loan is available not only to new students, but also to those already enrolled in public institutions. Well, Akintunde Soya also addressed the issue of loan recovery, stating that repayments would be deducted directly from the sources of earnings once applicants start working. The scheme includes insurance to cover certain risks, such as the death of a borrower, which would trigger loan forgiveness. The revised Student Loan Act 2024 aims to eliminate financial barriers, making education accessible to all Nigerian students, regardless of their economic background. While NELFund's funding sources include taxes, levies, and contributions from various governmental profits and donations as well. Well, to another business story very quickly. Aliko Dangote, president of the Dangote Group Industries Limited, has called for a reduction in Nigeria's bank interest rates from the current 30%, stating that economic growth is impossible under such high rates. Speaking at the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria MAN 2024 summit in Abuja. Dangote pointed out that the inflation in advanced economies was driven by massive cash transfers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Unlike in Africa, he argued that with such high interest rates, creating jobs and fostering growth is highly challenging. But Dangote also emphasized the need to protect local industries to attract foreign direct investment. He traced the decline of Nigeria's manufacturing sector since the 1970s and advocated for policies that promote local investment. Since the beginning of the year, the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised interest rates significantly, with which stakeholders argue increases the cost of assessing capital and, of course, hurts the real economy. Well, those are business stories that we have for you at this moment. More business stories will be coming your way at 10 o'clock during the Business Hour show. We'll take a back. We'll be going into entertainment. Stay with us. Now to entertainment. Controversial investigative journalist Kemi Olunloyo has made bold claims about Nollywood actress Iyabo Ojo. Olunloyo, known for her daring commentary, described both Iyabo Ojo and Tonto Dike as failed actresses. Now she accused Ojo of spamming blogs with evidence against Very Dark Man VDM, a controversial activist in the entertainment industry. Iyabo Ojo had previously compiled videos where VDM insulted her and Tonto Dike, challenging him to apologize. Well, however, Kemi Olunloyo took sides with VDM and warned Iyabo's partner, Polo Okoye, to leave her because, according to Kemi, Iyabo is reducing his brand. Additionally, Olunloyo asserted that some Nollywood actresses maintain expensive lifestyles by engaging in affairs with influential figures. Well, meanwhile, Iyabo Ojo responded to her by praying for Kemi Olunloyo to experience PTSD the second time. I don't know. The things going on with Nigerian entertainers is just heartbreaking, really. Oh, come on. That wasn't necessary.
Why would you want to wish that for someone?
I know Madam Olunloyo can be a handful.
Oh, yes.
But I don't think that was necessary. Oh, well, let's go to another story now. Reality TV star Kid Wire has shared a shocking incident of robbery at his villa in Ibiza, Spain. According to Kid Wire, he was robbed of approximately 70,000 euros and a Birkin bag during the incident. The unfortunate incident occurred days after he was seen flaunting wads of cash in Ibiza on social media. Well, the robbery happened at 3 a.m. with the perpetrators gaining entry into his villa and conducting a targeted theft. Kid Wire emphasized the importance of safety measures for fellow Nigerians traveling to Europe, especially those staying in villas. Well, he advised people to have additional security personnel, private drivers, and be vigilant with household staff. He cautioned against using regular taxis and recommended opting for private drivers instead. Well, this is for those that have the means to, do all of that. Well, my question to Kid Wire is, why flaunt the cash in the first place?
I mean,
why do you even have that much cash? 70,000.
Yeah, I was even going to go there.
Okay, are you allowed in that society? Are you allowed to move around with that much cash on you? Are you even allowed to?
He should be lucky he's not picked up by the police. I mean,
oh well. Unfortunately for him, talking about living a certain lifestyle. If you can afford it, why not? If you can't, you live within your means. Okay, well, those are entertainment stories. Sports is up next. Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.
Audio Jungle.
All right, welcome back. Now let's just get into some sporting stories. The Nigerian Olympic Committee has called on the federal government to expedite the release of funds to ensure early preparation for Team Nigeria. NOC Secretary General Tunde Kokola emphasized a strategic focus on athletes, wrestling, weightlifting, and badminton to end the country's 32-year gold medal drought at the Olympics. Nigeria's last Olympic gold was awarded posthumously at the Sydney 2000 Games when the men's 4x400 meters relay team silver was upgraded to gold following the disqualification of the U.S. team for doping violations. Well, we're only hoping that the NOC really does get to the ministry in time to get funds released. All right, some other stories. Aruna Quadri is set to compete at the WTT Star Contender Back Cup 2024 in Thailand after missing the Lagos and Tunis editions last month. Aruna, ranked 16th by the International Table Tennis Federation, aims to boost his ranking points ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. A strong performance could secure him a spot among the top 16 seeds for the men's single at the Olympics. Aruna will be joined by rising star Edward Lee from Canada, who has surged from beyond the top 300 to world number 36 within a year. Local athletes Nepat Thanmatikom and Pakom Sanguzning, along with Janipa Sawadtabot, are also set to compete. The $250,000 tournament at Holmark Indoor Stadium promises intense competition, offering 600 ITTF world ranking points and featuring a star-studded lineup. Well, it's no more news as well that Netherlands and what's their name again now? Turkey, yes, are in the quarterfinals of the Euros 2024 games, and we're hoping that the best team in the Euros does win the tournament. That's about it from me in the sports segment of the show. But then I would only urge you to join us 11 a.m. West African time for the program Sports Republic, where we give you insights and, of course, details on all other sports like you would want it on a beautiful Wednesday morning like today. That's about it from me, David Edwin, saying do have a beautiful day ahead. And yes, don't forget to always pray for Nigeria. There is no great nation like ours. Have a great day ahead. God bless Nigeria.
All right, so about Nigeria and the statements of Group GMD of the NNPCL, I do hope this isn't some sort of scheme to further increase the price of fuel. We've had to talk about dirty fuel. Some Nigerians have said, look, this is a ploy, all right? And now we're talking about a state of emergency. Let's not forget, Nigeria is the only country where vessels, now a vessel is like a two-story building or more put together, coming into the waters of Nigeria and spend months drilling Nigeria's oil, Nigeria's crude, and then going out without any radar, picking them. That in itself speaks volumes as to how serious we are as a nation to, make good use of our resources and prevent theft. We've had situations where those that have been apprehended, we did not even siphon the oil from the vessels. The vessels were blown up right there, causing environmental hazard in the process. A state of emergency, is that the way to go? Is that the answer? Is that what will curb oil theft and increase production? Well, I just hope that this is not a ploy to further increase the pump price of fuel, because there are feelers that that might be the next thing. Well, my prayer for Nigeria is that we get leaders that will get it right. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.